Hey Charlie, we're about to go and break down your back Cork 7 on tramp to figure out how we can go and make it more useful as a training tool to learn it on actual snow. We're going to do that by breaking down your back Cork 7 and going from there. So first, let's watch it through. So the biggest issue you're having here is this is actually not a back Cork 7. This is a back Misty 7. The reason why this is because of this curving in the spine. When you curve your spine and throw downwards, that's making it so you're doing more of a flip. That doesn't really work for going and corking your spins on a snowboard, because a cork on your snowboard relies on a straight body throwing over your back foot, and that's going to go and match the angle of the jump, putting you on a corked axis. Where if you go and bend down and let your spine curve down, it's going to break you at the waist, not letting you get full pop off a takeoff. So that's the first thing we're going to need to change for this training. Is we need to go and get you from throwing down to throwing parallel, keeping your chest strong. Because the biggest reason you can't go and cork this way, besides losing power for takeoff, is right here. You get a moment of blindness. Notice how your head is looking up like this. When you're doing a spin on a snowboard, your eyes need to be locked on the knuckle. And this is even more true when you're doing a cork. So when you're going and flipping this much, your vision is shooting you up in the sky, so you can't actually see what's going on. What this does is it makes you need to disconnect your neck from your body, doing a double spot. What makes it impossible to get any grabs or anything. It goes and makes your core disconnected. So I'm going to show you two examples. I'm going to show you a mistake of one of my back sevens where I do the same thing. And then I'm going to show you what I do now in order to cork my backside sevens. So first, let's watch this full speed. Back 7, and there you can see it right there. I have to whip my head around and I don't get the grab. So even with this one, I'm taking off completely straight-legged, tall posture. The problem is I'm leaning forward, so my upper body is leaning forward. This causes my arm to be thrown down towards the tail of my snowboard. With this much of a throw and this exaggerated of an angle, it's putting me on a cork that makes it so I can't keep my eyes locked on the knuckle. Instead, my vision is out in front, so I can't see where I'm at. This means I need to go and instead of holding the grab and holding a constant rotation, I need to flick my head around and recorrect myself in the air. So this is the reason why we're trying to avoid the throwing down, because this is how devastating it is to your back 7, even with a straight posture, just by having your angle thrown down too much. Now let's look at a proper back. Oh my goodness, sorry, that was really loud on my screen. Let's look at a proper back cork 7 that I did this year. A proper cork back 7 doesn't even feel like a cork. You're just throwing it and it's keeping you nice and strong with the jump, matching the angle of the takeoff. So we'll watch it full motion, then slow motion before breaking it down. So let's watch it slow-mo and see what's going on here. Wind up, snap, and then you can see I just have this little bit of cork, a little bit of off axis. So you can see that I'm not really throwing down here. I'm not doing anything outside of a normal spin. The only thing I'm doing is I'm shifting my weight slightly more over my back foot. And you can see it right here. My upper body is still tall and strong with a straight line. The only thing is my throw is set really far over my back foot. The more you throw over your back foot, the more corked you're going to be. So if I kept my spin flat, there'd be no cork. I'd be just going and evening out, having a flat axis rotation. But if you dip it down a little bit, you're going to have a little bit of cork like this. But if you dip it down even more, then you're going to be super corked. So that's where corking comes from. It doesn't come from throwing down. Instead, it comes from angling your whole upper body towards your back foot, resulting in a corked motion. A really important thing to keep in mind when you're corking a jump is on a snowboard, the jumps and landings have angle. So a jump has an angle. So it's really hard to spin completely flat on a jump when you do a proper takeoff off your back foot, because you're going to naturally sync up with the angle of the takeoff, putting you on a slight little bit of cork that lets you go and perfectly sync up with the landing. So that's what we're trying to do to actually get a cork on our snowboard. We don't want to be going and throwing down towards the snow, because that's going to cause us to do that flip axis, what will put our head in a spot that we can't control, not letting us continue the rotation. Losing the spot, doing a double spot, and losing control. And we don't want to be going and arcing our spine downwards, because that's not going to let us get full power off the takeoff, and it's going to put us into more of a flip. So now that we know what we're not supposed to be doing, let me show you how to go and train this. I'm just going to do this by going big screen here. So right now, you're doing Misty, so you're going and throwing down towards your back foot like this, and then pulling and wrenching around. What I want you to do instead is focus on keeping a nice, strong, tall body and just doing your back sevens flat. Once you get really comfortable with that, what you can start doing is snapping with your upper body more angled down. So here's flat, here's dipped, here's corked. Notice how I'm not going and bending forward for any of these motions. Instead, I'm taking my whole weight, shifting from both feet for a flat, shifting to slightly off a back foot for a cork with that full extension, and then to really get it corked, I'm going all the way over my back foot, but still keeping completely tall and extended. This is a much harder motion to train, but it's what you need to be doing for a snowboard, because even on dub back 10s on a snowboard, we're going tall, flat, snapping over, and then tucking in. Instead, what a lot of people do when they try like dub back 10s for the first time is they throw down, throw up, and then they're out of control. They can't see. They haven't been able to spot. Because watch this. When you go and snap over your shoulder, what it does is it sets you up perfectly at 2-7 here to spot the knuckle. And from there, you can go and pull in, continuing the cork. So that's what I want you to train. Practice doing your back sevens with a tall, strong form, not letting yourself hinge forward or round in the spine. As soon as your spine starts rounding when you spin, you're cheating the cork, and it's not going to work very well on a snowboard. So go, make sure you're flat, do your spins, boom, flat, dipped, corked. And what you'll find with this is it will give you so much control that you can actually start changing your axis of rotation in the air. So you can start more flat, hit the grab, and then you'll be able to pull in and cork the second half of a spin. So work on that and then submit me another video if you're struggling, because it is a tricky motion that can be really hard to get your head around. You'll know you're doing it right when you can go and spot your head on one point and you can track that same point the whole time. That's the key to getting a good spin, and that's how you know you're lacing it, when your head isn't doing any extra movement. You snap it, you spot, you lock it. Once you can do that, your back sevens will be way easier to do and way easier to cork, because the back cork 7 isn't a real trick. Instead, corking your spin is just an extension of the trick itself, and your cork amount will change depending on the jump you're doing and what trick and grab you're trying to do. So work on this and then submit me another video when you need more help, and keep at it.